Next question is from Kenny Flow. Ego, love your channel, man. You keep it real. Support from the UK. Shout out to the whole UK, man. As for my question, when's Troy King's next fight? January 21st. He's actually training right now, eating better. And also, what are your thoughts on Adrien Broner post on his Insta, his most recent post? I actually haven't seen it, so I don't know what it's about. You should have included that aspect, but I didn't really see anything about Broner. Let me see if I can pull it up with my right hand on my phone. And I don't know what it most recent for you. A day ago, so I don't know what post. I'm not sure what post. It looks like he's posted a couple things from a day ago, so I'm not sure to answer that second part of your question. But Troy King, January 21st. Next question is Hamoud Ali. Do you think Jack will slightly have an edge for DEGALE versus DEGALE because he beat George Groves and James DEGALE lost? No, I don't look at like triangle theories and stuff like that, because I mean, if that's the case, Tim Bradley beat Juan Manuel Marquez pretty soundly, and Bradley cannot beat Pacquiao at all. You know what I'm saying? I had him losing all 3 fights, and Marquez always gives Pacquiao trouble. So to me, triangle theories don't work. People improve, because James DEGALE, before he became an IBF champion, lost to George Groves. Doesn't really mean anything. George Groves might have been further along in his career than James DEGALE was, even though he was an Olympic gold medalist. But it's a tough fight. I think I might give a slight edge to Jack, but it's really a toss-up. I don't know who I'm picking in that particular fight, but I don't really do the triangle theories because they don't really equate to anything. Like I said, Bradley can't beat Pacquiao, and Marquez, he beat him pretty convincingly. Next question, it's Captain Winky. Hey, Ego, what do you think about a matchup with Mikey Garcia and BRONER? I love it. Mikey Garcia, Pac-Man. I like the matchup based on the styles. I just don't know what weight it would happen unless Pacquiao can make 140 and is willing to go to 140 from Mikey Garcia. And I don't know, because the lightest we've seen him like contracted in recent memory is Chris Algieri, 143. I think these matchups are freaking exciting for 2017. I got Jack by KO against DEGALE. It's a good fight. It's a real good fight. I like those matchups. Those are all amazing. If any of those get done in 2017, I think it's good for boxing, especially if Mikey Garcia gets past Dejan's Latitian, and that's a sleeper fight a lot of people aren't talking about. It's on the Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton 2 card. Great fight. I'm looking forward to that, and also the co-main event. Showtime's killing it for the next 2 weeks. Jack DEGALE and then Leo Santa Cruz Frampton 2 the very next week. I believe it's the next week, but definitely both in this month. Next question is from Mr. Excited. Ego, any news with the Spence and Brook showdown? No, and there probably won't be unless one of them like speaks out. And the reason is, Kell Brook last year, at the end of last year, he contacted the IBF formally, wrote him a written letter and said, hey, I sustained an injury, a well-documented injury, eye injury, in my last fight with Gennady Golovkin. As a result, can we push this back before the purse bid? And the IBF granted him a medical extension, and that lasts all the way until the end of February. So unless Kell Brook or Errol Spence tweet something, there's not really anything to update, because he has given himself that leeway, him and Matchroom. They've given himself that leeway, so nothing really will happen until February 23rd through 26th. I don't remember the exact date, but it's the end of February, February 23rd through 26th-ish. And then that's when the medical extension is over. So I'll keep you guys updated if I hear anything else before then. Next question, Joe Kelly. Hey, Ego, Deontay Wilder is a humble guy. Why are American fans always rooting against him? We love exciting fights and knockouts, right? Well, Deontay Wilder gives us exciting fights with brutal knockouts. What's not to like in a guy like Wilder? I mean, I don't know, because I'm not one of the people. I met Wilder, shout out to Wilder, Bomb Squad, cool dude, big dude, pause. And I don't know, I never had a problem with like Wilder's style. I think he's charismatic in and out of the ring. I think he sounds like a good dad. Like you see the behind the scenes specials with Showtime, his daughter has spina bifida, and the sacrifices he's made and the medical treatments and stuff, that how he stayed by his dad's side. I have a lot of friends, not a lot, well, maybe But I have friends and they never even met their dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm fortunate to have my parents still married and both still here. So I'm one in many. Most of my friends, even if they grew up with both parents, a lot of their parents are divorced and stuff like that. So sometimes dads split and, you know what I mean, a lot of deadbeat dads and stuff. So Deontay Wilder's doing it the right way, taking care of his seeds. In and out of the ring, I don't really see what there's not to like. As far as his knockouts to me are more brutal than a Gennady Golovkin, straight up. The only person I seen Triple G really stretch was Ishida, and I'm not taking anything away because I think Triple G has better technique than Deontay Wilder, like in terms of like just basic fundamentals for his offense. I see Wilder kind of make mistakes, but that's kind of what this is style. He started boxing late. He still made it to become a bronze medalist, even though he started late and picked it up late. I think he might have even been playing basketball. Triple G has 350 Emmys, so I mean, I would expect him to have better technique. But in terms of brute force knockouts, I see more fierce knockouts. I mean, I've never seen a high class known name that Triple G fought other than Ishida, where you could say he got stretched like Deontay Wilder did to Spilka. But this is what I was saying earlier in this episode of Monday Mail Day. A lot of people, a lot of fans, they're real casual and they don't know shit about boxing. And it's all about favoritism. It's all about tribalism. It's all about race. And they kind of pick accordingly. And a lot of times there's a fighter, and if there's some stigma that fighter had, a fighter that they don't like or have grown to not like, then that fighter is forever, like, it's like the scarlet letter. It's like they've been branded. I see it all the time. Like Andre Ward, even though he fought 3 times in 2016, all the way up until the Sergey Kovalev fight, they were saying Ward was inactive Ward. Like, how is he inactive? And he got a new Rock Nation deal, fought Paul Smith, then the next year he fought 3 times. You know what I mean? But they still called him inactive Ward. Now they're calling him robbery Ward or son of judges, you know what I mean? Because they don't like him. But in other close fights with fighters that they do like Canelo Lara or whoever the person is, then they don't call him that. You know what I'm saying? Even though 117, 111 was an egregious scorecard from Levi Martinez, and all the judges scored Kovalev Ward very close. I know because I was there. You know what I mean? Or Danny Garcia, he's another one. Just like Wilder. People hate him. He had some performances maybe he shouldn't have won, like the Mauricio Herrera. I thought Herrera definitely won that fight. The Peterson fight, he didn't look good in that fight, etc. So now people, and the Rod Salka should have never happened. I call it fair, but that you can't. His resume for the under 30 welterweights, he has probably the best welterweight resume under 30. You know what I mean? The only guys with maybe better resumes are Bradley, Pacquiao, and Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? And they're all over 30. But people always call him cherry picking Garcia. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with Wilder. They don't like his competition or fighting this person, and they don't even look at the reality of it. Wilder fought Chris Arreola not because that was his first choice. That was an understudy because Povetkin couldn't pass a drug test. That's a fact. You know what I mean? And because of that commotion and stuff, the fight was canceled by the WBC. Wilder flew home and went back home, and he's like, I didn't do a training camp for nothing. I want to fight somebody. So they rounded up Chris Arreola, and that fight was made. And later on, Povetkin failed another drug test for another drug. You know what I'm saying? But fans still throw that on Wilder as if it's his fault Povetkin can't pass a drug test. You know what I'm saying? So I really can't speak on it. Why they're doing it is just bias, and people just want to ride or die with their opinions, I guess. Next question, Roberto Flores. Yo, Ego, are you going to Troy's next fight? Most likely. We want to see some garlic butter. Yeah, I'll try to do some kind of documentary or, you know what I mean, behind the scenes stuff. But I'll definitely try to go to that fight. I got to see where he's fighting. I don't even know where his fight is. Next question, Calvin Phelps. What are some fights you would like to see for 2017? Shit, some of the fights that are already scheduled. Joshua Klitschko, Garcia Thurman, Bellew Hay. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean the most because Bellew's moving up, but based on the build-up, I want to see it. Fights that haven't been announced or aren't a deal. Kell Brook, Errol Spence. I would love to see either Wilder or Luis King Kong Ortiz versus Anthony Joshua if he beats Klitschko, or Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. I want to see, who else is there? I could think of a ton. I want to see Gary Russell versus Oscar Valdez. I would want to see, who else is there? Gary Russell. There's someone else I want to see. Gary Russell. Maybe like an Abnamada, Leo Santa Cruz, if he wants to move up. They fought in the amateurs, Leo Santa Cruz and Gary Russell. But I mean, I could think Rigondeaux versus a name, like, you know what I mean, a known name. There's a ton of fights that I want to see. It's just a matter of if they will happen. Sean Porter versus somebody. I want to see Sean Porter come back, like against a BADOU or whoever. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of good fights out there. Triple G Canelo obviously is one I've been waiting for. Next question is Marco_is king. What up, Ego? What up? 1. Do you think a fighter overpricing themselves for a fight is considered ducking? Absolutely. Do you think a promoter underpaying another fighter is considered ducking? I don't really know what you mean there. When you know the fighter deserves more. I haven't really seen part B of your question as much. I mean, sometimes fighters get underpaid, but I mean, it's up to your team to make sure you get the best deal. And if you're not okay with the deal, kind of, unless you mean like a lowball offer that you know they won't take, that's ducking. Like if I say, I mean, it's you can lowball anyone. Let's say you're selling a MacBook Pro and it's brand new and in the store it costs $1,700. And I'm like, hey, I'll give you $150 right now. I'll give you $150. That's clearly a lowball. If it's brand new in the box and everything, why would I sell it for $150? It's not stolen or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, lowballing is definitely a strategy just to see if someone's dumb enough to take it. Pricing themselves out is one that we probably see more in the headlines and stuff, where a fighter will like, yeah, I'll fight Rigondeaux, but I need $3 million, knowing it's not a $3 million fight. Same thing with Crawford and Pacquiao. Pacquiao asking for $20 million, but he's not putting the $20 million worth of revenue at the live gate and in his pay-per-view numbers. So how can you justify that? I understand he got that at one point, but if shit ain't sweet no more, then how can you still demand the same thing? They're doing it because they know there's a risk. So they're like, man, if we fight this Crawford kid, we want max dollar. You know what I'm saying? We want to get paid something hefty, even though our numbers don't support us getting 20 million right now for that level of a fight. It's a great fight, but Crawford doesn't even have the BRONER level celebrity for probably the wrong reason. It has nothing to do with his fight skill. He's just kind of a chill, cool, calm, collect person. BRONER's more of a salesman, and in this society, that's kind of what sells. People look at the Conor McGregors and BRONERs before maybe even someone else that might even be more skilled than them. I mean, it's just the way of the world. Conor McGregor, you could say Khabib Nurmagomedov is a damn good fighter, and a lot of people would pick Khabib Nurmagomedov to beat Conor McGregor. But even though he's popular, he's not as popular as Conor McGregor. You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how the game goes. So yeah, a lot of fighters overprice themselves because they don't want it, and it's basically the strategy behind it is this: you're asking for something you know they can't pay, i.e., you know the fight won't be made because they can't offer you that, they can't give you that. You know what I'm saying? Let's say I went to Best Buy, right, and I bought a fridge, and Best Buy delivery team messed up the order and didn't deliver it on time, and I'm trying to get confirmation or compensation, right? And they're like, oh, what do you want us to do for you for the inconvenience? And I'm like, oh, deliver the refrigerator, take $600 off and throw in a 4K TV, a 55-inch. They're not gonna do that. Why would they throw? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm requesting something I clearly know that they're not gonna be able to deliver. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna request all this compensation and a 4K TV, knowing they won't be able to deliver, just so I can continue to say their customer service is bad. So yeah, overpricing is definitely a form of ducking. It's a strategy. And number 2, I gotta move on. What's your 5 boxing fights of all time? Love your videos. Thank you for that. I don't really know off the top of my head, and I kind of, for the sake of time length, I probably can't get into it. One of them has to be, I would say, the Ward Gotti, all-time classic. I'd probably go with the first one because it was the first, another all-time classic fight for me. I really like Pacquiao versus Marquez. Probably one of the first two. Those are like epic to me. Marquez and Diaz, I love that fight. There's another one, Castillo versus Chico Corrales. I mean, that's all-time classic. So those are some of mine, but I have a ton of them. Like Roy Jones versus Vinny Pazienza. That was just a fun fight because they were showboating and both talking shit. There's a ton. Barrera versus Prince Nassim. I have a ton of them. I can't narrow it down to 5. I'd be talking all day, or I'll be searching all day trying to find it. All right, next question. West P. Ego, salute to all work you put in. Thank you. You are very inspiring. Pause. Thank you. My question is about Ward and retirement talk. Is it marketing tool, or is he upset with the lack of respect from boxing writers? I think both. Kind of works both. I think he wants to, one, it's a method of checking Team Kovalev, like putting them in check. I got your belts, and if you keep talking reckless, then I'm going to threaten you with retirement. Now you can maybe fight for a vacant belt, but you're going to have to fight somebody totally different, and you can never rectify to this point, your only loss. You know what I'm saying? So I think he doesn't like, especially from Team Kovalev, I think he doesn't like how they're behaving. There was a close fight. All the judges scored it a close fight, but they're acting like this was some Pacquiao Bradley or Richard Abreu, Brandon Rios, like it was just some massive robbery where somebody had it way off for Ward, and that wasn't the case. It's a close fight. Kovalev let off the gas in the second half. It was up to interpretation, and it is what it is. And Kovalev's team, they're acting pretty salty about it. Like, oh, this son of judge, I don't know. Like months later, weeks later, I mean, it's done. What's done is done. So I think it's a bit of marketing. It builds controversy for the rematch, so both fighters can get top dollar. And then same thing with the boxing media and the writers. They're a lot of them. They don't. I'm gonna tell you guys straight up. When I go to the fights, a lot of these dudes that be sitting by and listening and overhearing, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Point blank. Period. They don't know how to interpret a fight. That, like, I've had. What fight was it? I don't even know what fight it was. I think it was Ward Brand or something. And this guy was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna give it to Ward after that." Like, what are you talking about? He clearly won every round. What do you know what I'm saying? So, I think it's. I don't think he's really gonna retire. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Haven't talked to him, and it's his decision. But I think he doesn't like the poor sportsmanship of, like, just the way they're taking the loss. So he's playing a little bit of hardball. Next question, Michael Sales. Yo, I'm Filipino here and I'm a Pacquiao fan. I believe that Manny should retire rather than facing low caliber opposition. If he's being economical, he's a senator anyway. He could still earn money. True. Although not as much money in boxing, of course. He has nothing to prove anymore. I agree. Manny Pacquiao's already a legend. He's already done legendary things. He's already done something that no one's ever done. Moved up 8 divisions. So if it's going to be such a low caliber of opposition that people, real boxing fans, don't care about, it's going to give you low pay-per-view numbers. To me, that's just milking the consumer. Why would I want to see that? I mean, the same goes with Floyd. If he's going to fight somebody that I've never even heard of, like Berto's one thing, and I understood that because I told you guys, I used this example before, and this, you guys can research what I'm talking about. Let's say Eminem is signed to Aftermath Interscope, right? And he has a 5-album deal. After he's already completed 4 albums, a lot of times what mainstream artists used to do, I don't know about the game now because I don't even think people are getting multi-album deals like back in the day, but what a lot of people used to do is for that 5th album, they'll just throw out a Christmas album or greatest hits where it's just a compilation. So it fulfills your contract and now you're a free agent and you can renegotiate for more money if they want to re-sign you or whatever have you. You don't have to work on a whole dedicated brand new album and things like that. You just put a greatest hits with maybe some unreleased songs on it and call it a day. And go look at Eminem. He has Eminem curtain calls, greatest hits, and it had a couple new tracks on it. But it wasn't like a from start to finish all brand new songs that no one had ever heard of, right? And that's to me what Floyd did in the Berto fight. He closed out his contract, fulfilled this 6-fight deal with Showtime or whatever it was, and now he's in the position to He made a lot of money in the Pacquiao fight. Now he's in the position to negotiate if he wants to come back. It's smart business. But Pacquiao retired in April, came back in November, and so it wasn't even really a retirement. He did his senator thing, and the very first like main recess they had, he came back and fought. So I mean, I don't want to see really anybody just milking the system and putting fights that people absolutely haven't even heard of your opponent. I mean, really, Nate, like, just be honest. Like, if you're a Pacquiao fan, if you're a Floyd fan, if you're whoever fan, how many Jeff Horn fights have you watched before Pacquiao was linked to him from start to finish? You know what I'm saying? And I can't say that about any of Pacquiao's previous opponents. So it's sad to see him potentially go down this road. Because Bradley, I've seen him a gang of times. I watched him, the Casamayor fight. I watched his fight with Devin Alexander, Lamont Peterson. I watched all of his fights really leading up to Pacquiao. He was the man at 140. You know what I mean? I had even seen Chris Algieri. I seen the Emmanuel Taylor. I seen the Ruslan Provodnikov. But I literally have not watched a full Jeff Horn fight until I heard his name with Pacquiao. I looked at the Randall Bailey fight, and I didn't even watch all of it. I just kind of breezed through some of the rounds and watched that fight because that's the only name that he's really fought that is ringing any type of bells. You know what I mean? A guy that been in there with Cotto, Devin Alexander, etc. Knocked out Mike Jones. And that's just what it is. So, I mean, why? This is not... Pacquiao needs to start a GoFundMe account if he just wants money to take care of his people. You know what I'm saying? Don't milk the public and put on fight after fight that no one really wants to see. The Jesse Vargas people weren't jumping out of for joy. And if you're really a fan of Pacquiao, then you would support him in better fights. You know what I'm saying? You would want to see him in better fights. So, it is what it is. That's my thoughts. Next question, James Lopez. Do you think Danny Jacobs should go for the KO in round 1? The longer the fight goes on, he could get caught by Triple G. 3 things Triple G loses if Danny wins: knockout streak, the boogeyman image, and his belts. Do you agree? I love your videos, man. Keep up the great work. Okay, let's break down this. Should Jacobs go for the KO in round 1? No, I wouldn't. I would get a feel for what Triple G has and try to keep him at bay with a jab. I wouldn't really try to rush nothing. Just because you did that to Quillen, I don't mean you're going to do it to Triple G. The longer the fight goes, he could get caught by Triple G. I don't agree with that. I believe the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Jacobs, because that means he's surviving. You know what I'm saying? If he's surviving and it gets past to the 6-7 round mark, that's going to be highly discouraging for Triple G. This is the biggest test of his career. Another thing with boxers is if you're getting hit by a puncher, if let's say Jacobs is connecting good shots, that causes fatigue. You know what I mean? You wear your opponents down. Maybe take some, if he goes to the body and stuff, maybe it takes some of that steam off Triple G's power, right? So I think the longer the fight goes on, the more it benefits. I think he needs to definitely stay safe early, because if it's a short night, then he gets caught cold and he never recovers, then it's a wrap. So I think he needs to work himself in the fight, kind of like Andre Ward did, minus the second round. Because see, that's Andre Ward was made to pay because he didn't gauge Kovalev's power properly and got a little bit too aggressive, and Kovalev just caught him with the counter in a sequence. So I don't think Triple G's a really good finisher. You know what I mean? I would say Kovalev's more of a boxer puncher. Triple G's a killer. Like when he gets you hurt, I mean, he's going for the jugular. He's gonna just try to put so much pressure on you that you're out of there. So it's more dangerous to me for Jacobs early. But yeah, I agree. If Triple G loses his knockout streak, that's not. I mean, that'll taint his boogeyman image. I mean, because same thing with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was promoting all this KOs for life. He hasn't had a KO in a minute to me, that I can remember. Hold on, I'm trying to think. He didn't knock out Sean Porter. He knocked out Luis Collazo, but I mean, that was kind of Collazo quit because he couldn't see because the blood was in his eye and didn't want to continue. Maybe he would have got the stoppage, but it was still a little bit weird. It wasn't like the Julio Diaz knocked out or the Jesus Soto Caras, you know what I'm saying? So Leonard Bundu survived. So yeah, I mean, the KOs for life image, people are like, ha, your power can be withstood. Next question, Alex Brown. What up, Ego? Do you think sparring with Shakur Stevenson is proper for Tank's first title shot? Absolutely. I made a video about it. Since Shakur just turned pro, or is it good work? I don't understand the question. Is sparring with Shakur proper for Tank's first title shot? I don't understand what the or is good work part means. But yeah, it's definitely good work. I mean, you got two young hungry lions in there, and they're about the same size. One's more of a puncher, southpaw puncher, and the other one's like more methodical, like ring IQ, and they'll put punches together, and that's Stevenson. So it's just good experience for two young fighters. So there's no other way to put it. That's good work. Next question, Eatman888. Hey Ego, I was watching your video with Troy King explaining the nuances of Floyd's mitt work. I feel boxing is so deep that it's hard for most to understand what they're watching clearly. I know tons of people like that. Because they don't, I mean, realistically, a lot of people aren't boxing fans. They like pure action, and if no one's getting knocked out, they'll start booing and stuff because they don't know what they're watching. They don't know how to break down, like, why is he starting to jab to the solar plex? They can't do that. That's why you get the War Rigo and Floyd boring running. Exactly. What do you think most fans have that mindset? Why do you think? I mean, I don't know, because I've never been like that. It's just probably the proper schooling. You don't know what you're looking at. If you're trying to compare it to like UFC and you want, you know what I'm saying? You want just mindless action, then not all fights are going to give you that. So if you're not educated, you don't know what you're looking at. It's just like people are lazy. That's what I think it is. You look at movies. I use this example. Horror movies back in the day, like Alfred Hitchcock or even The Thing with Kurt Russell, you didn't just get to see the alien right off the bat. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then the alien can take human form and you have to figure out which person is really the alien and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But they look like humans. But now movies, horror movies, just they just rip your jaw out and your esophagus out, your eyeballs, and you know what I'm saying? Just crazy gore. They don't make you think. And that's what some people like. They just want to see world star KOs and shit like that. But when you have two elite fighters, a lot of times you won't see that. How many knockdowns were in the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight? 0. Who got knocked out? No one. How many knockdowns were in the Cotto-Canelo fight? 0. Who got knocked out? No one. How many knockdowns in Ward Kovalev? 1 knockdown. Who got knocked out? No one. You know what I'm saying? When you have the best of the best, you don't always get to see knockdowns or knockouts and stuff like that. You have to know how to break fights down. And then the other part of your question, is it the fact that everyone thinks they can fight? I don't know. Movies like Rocky have people thinking that all fights should look like that. Exactly. The World Star Fight Comps. See, you said the same thing. Having people think KOs are easy. What do you think is the reason for the decaf BS? Again, just the schooling and people are lazy. They don't want to have to put it together. They don't want to see a movie that makes them think, and they have to listen to the dialogue and who the characters are and like interpret the plot. They just want something that's just in your face, and it doesn't really take much to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love John Wick, but some people, that's all they can watch is movies like that, where it's like pretty easy. Okay, Keanu Reeves pissed off, they killed his dog, and he got the Draco and he got gas and he's killing everybody and beating their ass. That doesn't really take much, but you have to be able to, well, you don't have to, but if you're a real movie buff, then you'll realize that not all movies are going to have nonstop action. Sometimes the action's at the end, but it was worth waiting because the story and the character development was good. Same thing with boxing. If you know the sweet science, you know what you're looking at, and you'll find entertainment. I personally find it entertaining when Floyd does little stuff. I'm like, how is he barely missing some of them shots and kind of reading the punch sequences before they're thrown and stuff like that, and Rigondeaux and stuff. He's like, how is he such a sniper? How is he beating this bigger guy? So I break down fights, but then I also like an all-out war like Porter Thurman. So I just think it's what you've been like privy to. Next question, Andy Phillip. Do you reckon Southpaws have advantages over Orthodox fighters? Thanks, Ego. Love the videos. Yeah, I think most Orthodox fighters have trouble with Southpaws by and large, and it's just because the punches come at a different angle. It's like, have you ever seen left-handers do anything? Like use scissors or use, you know what I mean? It looks weird to a right-hander. So just imagine fighting somebody like that. The punches are coming from an angle you don't expect. And if you think about it, the world, I don't know the actual stat, but let's say 9% of the world is left-handed, right? So that means when you're sparring other boxers, that's probably like 1 out of every 6 people is going to be left-handed, or whatever the actual breakdown is. You know what I'm saying? So you're mostly sparring other Orthodox fighters. So you get in there with this guy who has a different stance and throwing punches from a different angle. It poses problems for people. Next question, Ferg FTW. Ego, what's good, homie? What up? Do you think Aram's play with Pac versus Ricky Burns is for Manny to get the 140 title, then have a unified match with Crawford? That's the only thing I could think of. Either way is basura caliente. I don't think he's going to fight Ricky Burns. I think he's just a name that they threw out there, but I don't really see that happening. But I think Ricky Burns might fight the Indongo guy, so I don't know. I hope he don't fight Ricky Burns. That's just my opinion. Next question, Owen Brown. Ego, what's up with the new trend of boxers like Pacquiao, Ward, Cotto, and Bradley that threaten about retiring soon as good and challenging fights are brought to the table? Personally, I'm tired at the point where I'm like, retire then. They're holding up spots in the game hostage for some young talent prospects to flourish. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you have to ask them, but I'm not in the situation. But I guess if you've been fighting all your life, maybe you get bored of it. Like I accomplished everything. I make good money. People know me, and I want to focus on other things. You know what I mean? People have options. Pacquiao's a senator. Ward was in the movie Creed. Cotto has a family. Bradley has a family. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get tired of making weight and eating right, and you know what I mean, after years. So the retirement, a lot of people probably, like Cotto, he probably just tired of scrapping all of his life and getting ready in training camps and stuff. He probably wants to just chill with his family and go on vacations. But it's also, I think, a business, and people, Mayweather's the biggest fighter in boxing, even in his retirement. Anytime he does anything, it's headline. So he kind of did that, and a lot of people follow suit. Mayweather retired when he fought Ricky Hatton, knocked him out, and then he retired and then came back, fought Marquez. And then now he's allegedly retired, but people are still talking. So I think people want to add that enigma and mystery to what they're doing, and also jog up headlines and hype to, like, oh, I'm gonna retire. You know what I'm saying? Get their name buzzing, like, oh shit, Ward's retiring, Pacquiao's retiring, and then Pacquiao comes back a few months later. So I don't know. Some people just can't stay away. I don't know. I don't think it's a one size fits all type of deal. I think there's different reasons. Some people are probably doing it to stir up commotion, but some people really probably want to fucking retire. Next question, Abel Mahari. Hey Ego, the work you put in for boxing is endless. Thank you. You, DBN, Boxing Voice, Barbershop Conversations, and Fight Hype provide us with the real content the fans need to see the mainstream wouldn't dare touch. I have a question about Pacquiao and Crawford situation. I remember a video from Fight Hype where Alex Ariza talked about how Aram tries to cash out his fighters when they lose their star value. Guys like Mayweather, De La Hoya, Morales, Garcia, and Cotto have seen the underhanded tactics of Top Rank and created their own stable. Do you believe Top Rank is pressuring Pacquiao to fight Crawford so he can cash him out and finally wash his hands of him for good? Your thoughts? Wow, good question. I don't know. I'm not Top Rank. This is just merely my opinion. I think Bob Arum is just a businessman. He's been around since the Ali days, right? So ultimately, I think he doesn't care who wins, because either way, he's gonna have the star. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if I think he's just a businessman, and he's probably able to separate his personal feelings from the fighters. He's seen fighters knocked out, fighters brain dead, probably fighters go bankrupt. He's probably seen it all. So he probably doesn't, you know what I'm saying? He's probably just like, either way, no matter who wins, I win. He's a businessman. He probably looks at him like this is part of the business, and shit happens. So I don't know if he's necessarily like people are making it like, oh, he's gonna feed Pacquiao to Crawford, because I don't even look at it like that, especially depending on what weight they fight at. That's not a give me fight for Crawford. I would pick Crawford, but I'm not counting Pacquiao out. Pacquiao hurt Floyd Mayweather. at 47, and Floyd has a good chin, and Floyd, he's resilient and stuff, and Pacquiao hurt him, I think, twice. I think in the 4th and maybe 7th round. So even though I would pick Crawford to win because he does more, he's fresher, younger, and stuff like that. The frame, taller, he can go southpaw. It's still not a give me fight. So I don't know if Bob Arum's thinking of like that. Pacquiao has a shot to beat Crawford. It's not like it's just. That's why I want to see it. If it was just a one-sided beatdown, then most people wouldn't want to see it like Crawford Molina, John Molina. People didn't really care about that just because they knew what they felt they knew. They're like, if Adrien Broner outboxed John Molina, then Crawford's really gonna outbox him. You know what I'm saying? So I think Top Rank's pressuring the fight because it's a good fight, it's a big fight. They stand to lose nothing. If Pacquiao wins, then they'll be like, oh, Pacquiao's back. He beat undefeated Crawford that no one else seems to be able to beat. Gamboa, John Molina, Victor Postal, and Pacquiao did it. He's back. Now we want the Mayweather fight. You know what I'm saying? We want a Mayweather rematch. Because, I mean, that's the perfect... If Pacquiao... Let's say Pacquiao stopped Crawford. That's the ultimate bargaining chip for him. He fought the new school version of Mayweather. You know what I mean? People were comparing Crawford to Mayweather. So if he knocked out Crawford, then you have more of a right to demand that rematch. Like, look what we did. We're still here. And then if Crawford win, then, I mean, you just retired a legend. Now your career is like Joe Smith Jr. Like what he knocked out Bernard Hopkins. So I think Top Rank just views it as win-win, win-win. No matter who wins, we win. Because we have both fighters. And we'll manage them. So that's what I'm thinking. Next question, Leno DiBiase. Also, can you and Troy King break down Thurman and Garcia? Show the angles Thurman throws his shots and Danny Garcia timing. Break down that Philly left hook. Yeah, we're going to talk about that fight more. I'm going to meet up with Troy probably Tuesday. So I'll keep that in mind. Next question, Avery Vice. Boxingego, love your channel. Thank you. You and Troy King were giving them too much garlic butter in the video about Jeff Horn breaking down the differences between Mayweather and Pacquiao and Lomachenko fighting styles. If Pacquiao fights Ricky Burns, do you think a win will stir up enough controversy to create pressure for Pacquiao to fight Terrence Crawford, Adrien Broner? I don't know. I mean, because I don't even know what Pacquiao's doing, to be honest. Because he's saying he's retiring, came back a couple months later. He can only fight during certain breaks and wants to fight Jeff Horn, and then they're making it sound like he might retire after that. So I don't know. I really don't know. Also, do you think the IBF should just strip KELL Brook now? They can't because he has the medical extension that I talked about earlier. And make Errol Spence, Jeff Horn, or Sean Porter fight. Keep up the great work. Yeah, they already granted him the access. So like I said earlier, when whoever else asked the question about that fight and the update, they can't. February 20 something, that's when it all goes down. And we're going to have to hear a decision, or it's going to go to purse bid. So they can't at this point because they've already granted the medical extension to February 23rd, 26th for KELL Brook. So they can't just strip him now because they agreed to his exemption. All right, I'm going to do a few more questions. Nick G47. Garcia has fought powerful punchers in the past and beat them convincingly, and seemingly has trouble with boxers that are not known for their power. Herrera, Peterson. How do you think Thurman's power will play into the fight? That's a good question. Will Thurman be better off using athleticism and boxing, which Garcia has trouble with, rather than trading? Definitely. With Garcia and focusing on his one-time power. Thanks, Ego. Keep up the good work. Yeah, from my view, that's what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to have a slugfest. Guys like guys like Canelo and Danny Garcia, if you bring fights to them, they're gonna fuck you up. They're gonna chop you up. If you're about their size and stuff, they do exceptionally well with that. Like, I think Canelo's more of his hand speed and punch variation and combination, and I think Garcia has power plus good timing, and he knows how to nail you with the shot. Pause. So, yeah, that's exactly what Keith Thurman doesn't want to do, is to get into a firefight. I mean, he was just in one with Sean Porter, so that would be the worst thing he can do for me. So I think he needs to do like he did with BADOU. Try to hurt him, but don't get overly reckless even though you hurt him. See, the funny thing is this. I think he should have been more aggressive with BADOU. That's my opinion. He hurt him. I think he should have jumped on him. He could have easily forced a stoppage, but he didn't. and he let BADOU get back into the fight somewhat. Not that he was winning, but he was using some tricky angles and switch hitting and going from Southpaw, and he ended up tattooing your face, and it proved to be one of Thurman's like worst performances to me. Like, it wasn't that exciting. It was kind of a boring fight, and we're not used to that for Keith Thurman. So you let him Malik Scott you, like Malik Scott did to Luis King Kong Ortiz. Do enough to stay out of trouble, tattoo your face up with, you know what I mean? Keith Thurman's face looked a little bit busted up. And then you let the young gun, Errol Spence, come after you and take him out, you know what I'm saying? And I think Keith Thurman had the power and the skill and the size and stuff to take BADOU out, but for whatever reason he let off the gas. He was coming off injury, maybe that had something to do with it, I don't know. But I think he shouldn't have been aggressive. But for Garcia, that's the approach that he should take, is more of a BADOU box and move. Don't do like you did with Sean Porter and get too reckless and try to have this like machismo shit. So yeah, don't focus on the one-time power with Garcia, because that's where he'll catch you. Next question, Owen Brown. Why does Adonis Stevenson get so much flack for ducking fighters Kovalev and Ward when showed clearly that when it went to purse bid, he was all in and Kathy Duva backed out? And with Ward, Stevenson called him out directly after the fight. And since then, Ward is on some weird trip. If not a Ward versus Kovalev rematch, why not Ward versus Stevenson unification? What's your take? Yeah, it's a good fight. I want to see Ward Stevenson. That's a good light heavyweight fight. I have no problem with that. The Stevenson Kovalev, it's a long story thing, and I don't even want to get into the whole thing, but the purse bid came after. It looked like he was ducking Kovalev earlier than that, you know what I'm saying? But then Kovalev's team didn't really make a strong case for himself when they pulled out the purse bid. So in the end, looking back at the whole thing, they both did something wrong. Stevenson looked like he could have made the fight when he was still on HBO. He went over to Showtime, and it didn't look like he was trying to make the Kovalev fight. But then after, Kovalev's team and main events did something wrong, because the fight, they requested a purse bid, then they was going to the purse bid, and then they were scared that Al Heyman's side would win it, Lou DiBella or whatever, and then stage it wherever they wanted on Showtime. And they backed out and said, nah, never mind. So it's 50-50 now. They both did something to prevent the fight. Next question is from random commentator. Hey Ego, since Golovkin and Jacobs are fighting in March, is Jacobs' WBA regular middleweight championship belt on the line too? It's a consolidation, so this will prove who is the real WBA like champion. You know what I'm saying? It just gets consolidated into one champion now instead of having two, which makes sense. It shouldn't have been two. And the final question, Dyson Benji? Boxingego, who will win and why? Andre Ward versus Roy Jones Jr. Much love and respect from Germany. Shout out to Germany. And Roy Jones is my dude. I got to pick Roy Jones. I just think in his prime, I don't really see anybody his size beating him. He was just freak of nature. Too much speed, too much power on both hands. He got robbed of Olympic gold, so he should have medaled. So he had the amateur stuff. He was too confident. Pensacola. I would have to pick Roy Jones. I would pick Roy Jones easy. You know what I mean? And I love Ward, and Ward's a great fighter, but I can't pick against prime Roy Jones. He beat Bernard Hopkins and James Stoney, and we later seen how skilled that they were. So yeah, I gotta pick him. He was just a freak of nature. And that concludes Monday Mail Day. Let me know how you guys think I did. Try to get to a lot of questions. I'll be back next week. A lot to talk about. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.